This is Intentional Sparks' first Facebook Live, breaking the Facebook Live virginity barrier. Here we go.
Hopefully it's not too rough for you guys.
So the goal here is every week on Mondays, we're going to get together and talk about some industry news in digital marketing, what we're working on, what we're seeing, what we're thinking about.
Fun stuff in there too. So.
Yeah, and some fun stuff as well. Here, I'll split screen here. So we're committing to doing this for the next 3 months, and hopefully you guys give us some feedback in the comments. We'd love to see, what you're thinking about these topics, what questions you have for us, and just to hear what you're thinking. We also have a tentative show name. We're calling it the Intentional Spark Show and Tell. But I think at the end here, we're going to brainstorm some different names we could do for this.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's a little too going back to elementary school. I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, I thought I came up with it about 20 minutes ago. So that's really an insight into how we like to work here. Everything's going to be a fire drill. But some of the topics we're going to talk about, we're going to touch on Apple's podcasting announcement last week around their new analytics. I think it has some interesting plays in advertising in the future, something to talk about. Also, Gary Vaynerchuk posted a tweet about the acquisition that his company did of PureWow about 6 months ago. But his tweet and kind of what they're doing now with it, I think, is really interesting for social media. And then Meg's going to touch on some new Instagram updates around influencer posts. And she's going to do her best to make that exciting because it's a little more tactical. And then at the end, we'll do some fun stuff, talk about what we're working on, what we're listening to, and then hopefully if anybody is listening to this, they'll hop in the comments and come up with a new name for the show, or tell us if they like the third grade Intentional Spark Show and Tell name. We will see.
And the only other thing I wanted to bring up is we'll have a couple other of our team members joining on these Facebook Live events on other Mondays, and we'll mix things up and hopefully keep it interesting for you guys. So
yeah, and right now I can only figure out how to get 2 people on, so we'll have to kick each other off and bring someone else on at different times. Maybe we'll have people reporting in from the outskirts of Portland. Thank you. All right, let's kick it off. So the first topic, we're going to touch on Apple's podcasting analytics announcement. So between the two of us, I am probably the podcast listener. Would you say that's correct?
I don't, because I don't listen to podcasts, so I don't know what the barometer is there.
You listen to one.
I listened to Bachelor Party by The Ringer, Juliet Littman. My guilty pleasure, I know. So
that's all right. I don't listen to it, but I watched The Bachelorette with you, so I probably should listen to it.
I listen to them in the car with you, so long road trips and stuff there.
Yeah, but so this topic I got from Stratechery, which is one of my favorite places to read about tech news. Really insightful industry news. Every Monday they publish a post, and if you pay to be a member, you get some extra posts as well. But they had a post at the end of last week about Apple's announcement with podcasting analytics. And the reason I thought this was interesting is he made the point in there that everyone was talking about what this means for advertisers. He actually doesn't think it's going to be a big deal for advertisers because they already have a lot of this data, right? Because most advertisers and podcasts give you a URL that they can track. So they know how much traffic these podcasts are driving them and how many sales are being driven. So the analytics aren't necessarily going to help them as much. But what he thought was interesting was the idea of Apple now moving a little more into the center of controlling the data for this, and the possibilities of maybe becoming, an ad platform. Something like AdSense or Facebook ads. Apple now can kind of, with those analytics, could actually start being more of an ad platform and distributor. So it's something to think about, because Facebook right now is probably one of the hottest and still best value places to run ads. But it won't always be like that. Just like how AdWords has gotten really, so competitive and expensive, new things will come along. So it's interesting to think about, what the next platform could be.
Yeah, and I guess for me, and this could be because I'm not a huge podcast listener, but I'm wondering if podcasts are too niche of a segment for this ad platform really to take off. To me, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of users yet, at least not to the level of, say, Facebook and So that's kind of was my takeaway of the whole thing. But I think that is definitely going to grow in coming years. So that was kind of.
Yeah, I think it's a little like on Facebook, you can push a little more and find your audience. With podcasts, it's much more like Snapchat, where it's a smaller number of people probably listening, but the people who do listen and listen regularly are probably much more rabid fans and followers.
Yeah, they're consistent too. You subscribe to a podcast station and you tune in every week or every day. And
right, exactly. And so you're following them, you know what they're up to. So if they recommend something and you trust them, that could be a really important way to get in front of them. So I think that's the difference with podcasts. And I'm super biased because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I have bought from podcast ads, so I know they work.
And this morning,
shout out to MeUndies.
And this morning I read an article about how advertisers are wise to be in podcasts because the demographics are prime for advertisers, because you have a lot of people converting into sales because they're typically people that listen to podcasts are higher income. They fall between the 24 to 44 age range. And so they're super tech savvy and, shopping a lot. And so. Oh, we got a question here. So
another question. Claire's popping in. Oh, what have I bought from podcast ads? What haven't I bought? Mizzen and Main shirts, even though I already own Mizzen and Main dress shirts. I've used the promo code. MeUndies. I heard that ad enough. I bought some MeUndies. Highly recommended. Meg doesn't like my neon underwear colors. What else have I bought on podcast ads? I've come close to buying some Omaha steaks. I almost bought a package of Omaha steaks the other day. So I'm a right.
That trigger many times with the Omaha steaks,
Yeah, exactly. Great question. So let's see. Next up, what are we going to talk about? Oh yeah, so VaynerX and PureWow. This is old news to a lot of people. I don't know how many people are following this super closely, but let me see if I hide this. Yeah, that drops down. So VaynerMedia, Gary Vaynerchuk's company, bought PureWow, which is a lifestyle and content brand focused, kind of geared towards younger career women. And they bought the brand in January, and then this weekend he kind of had a tweet just saying, "Here it is, VaynerX," and it's a holding company. And what it looks like is they're going to buy even more of these content platforms, his advertising agency, and keep using them. But now it gives his agency a way to, more direct places to put their content, to put their clients' content, and to drive organic traffic and leverage attention. And so it's kind of the inverse of what you see with, BuzzFeed, Vice. They all were content platforms and now have built big kind of behind the scenes advertising platforms. You even see that with companies, like Vox Media. They've built their own system and they just took on the Ringer to do ad sales for the Ringer. And so it's interesting now seeing it go the other way. It really shows how big content is and will be, and really makes and underlines the point. Everyone should think of themselves as a media source first, no matter what business you're in. Do content, be media, get eyeballs on you, and then that'll help leverage all your other business practices.
And I think it's cool just to see digital agencies merging with publishing companies. And, it goes back to the whole, when you're sharing out social media content, it's the whole 80-20 rule where, you want 20% of it to be promotional and selling your product or, whatever your service offering is. And then you want 80% to be really high valuable content that, your audience is interested in the area that you're focusing on. And that can be third-party articles and, news and media. And so I think it just kind of drives home that whole idea that, companies need to be more about just selling their products and more about building building a whole media platform around their brand. So.
Yeah, and I think it also should free people up to maybe not be so married to the type of content they produce that has to be so specific to what their business is. I think the important thing is to think about what the content should be in relation to where their audience is. So take a company that has a business, selling baby clothes. They could talk a lot about baby clothes and babies, but they're also targeting parents, mothers, fathers. They could target interests outside of baby clothes in their content to bring in the parents. And that's probably actually a way to engage them more than just constantly sharing information around toddlers or babies, is actually putting out content around, date night, how to get away from the kid for a night, how to have a play date that actually, could be fun with the parents as well as the kids. Kind of going in different avenues with the content. Because if you watch PureWow is pure content, but they mix in, sponsored posts that seem organic. And it does fit in with all these other brands. So
I was going to say, I went to PureWow this morning for the first time, and one of the first things that popped up was an article reviewing a Brazilian butt cream that's supposed to firm your butt up. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's something else I bought from an ad recently. Brazilian butt cream.
It was great. I was like, go VaynerMedia, you're on point there with a female demographic.
See, and then that's amazing. I like that a lot. Good. I didn't think I'd be hearing Brazilian butt cream at 9 a.m., but thanks, Meg.
I'm here. I'm here all day, guys.
All right, let's move on. All right, in super boring news, important though, it's important. Meg,
you're transitioning away from you. It's now boring news with Meg. Nice.
Yeah, but at least you spiced it up with some Brazilian butt cream lead-in, so that's solid. All right, do you want to talk about the Instagram influencer posts?
Yeah, so we read on TechCrunch this morning that now, I guess the FTC is now making it a requirement for influencers on Instagram to post when they've had a paid partnership with a particular company. So typically in the past, if an influencer got paid to review a product and post it on Instagram, they've just had to disclose that information in the comments or in a follow-up comment in their post. But now they're making it, Instagram is making it mandatory for major influencers to have a banner at the top of their image that'll say paid partnership with, and that it'll link to the advertiser's Instagram handle. So it's just making advertising and sponsorship amongst influencers way more transparent. And I guess one question I have for you, Tony, is someone using Instagram, do you think this is a more authentic approach to selling or to, getting a product name out there? If you're following an influencer, do you respect that more if it's just right up front and said, paid marketing or paid advertising by so-and-so, or do you think it kind of cheapens the whole the post and makes you trust the influencer less?
It's interesting because it doesn't change the underlying model, right? The influencer was always being paid for it, but now it makes it even more obvious. So yeah, it's like Claire just asked the question. I was wondering, Claire said, interesting. I wonder if that'll impact the effectiveness of those posts, and that's something I'm curious about because before you put it in a hashtag, you put it in the handle in the comment section. A lot of people would miss it. I mean, even these days with Facebook ads, these like direct Facebook ads and Instagram ads, a lot of people don't really notice the sponsored little tagline under the ad. And they think it's actually just like an organic post. Now the call out in the Instagram ad with the influencer, it might make people, shy away a little more. I do like that it's more transparent.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's a little more transparent, and it seems like if it's just out there in front of you, it makes reading the post seem a little more genuine because there's no underlying, was that a sponsorship, or like, does this person actually, always, eat Chobani in the morning or something? And so One thing though that I'm curious about is when I was going through the article and they did a screen capture under like at the top banner, underneath the person's Instagram handle, it'll say paid partnership with, and then it'll have the handle of like say Volvo USA. And I'm wondering if you can then because I haven't seen this yet on my phone, and they've only rolled it out, I think, to 90 influencers, and then they're going to gather data and then see if they're going to roll it out to even more influencers. But what I'm curious is, I'm wondering if you could click into the sponsor's Instagram handle in that top banner, because if that's the case, then that's probably going to drive way more traffic, to the sponsor than if it was just in some comment or a follow-up post after the meeting.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it probably gives the sponsor more analytics too, to actually have a linkable. If that links up and they can click over, they actually see some more traffic. That's a good point. Maybe any decrease in performance is offset by actually having more places to go to the sponsor. Yeah,
and I think too. I mean, if it's ultimately, if this whole shift is driving more traffic to the sponsor and they're seeing higher conversions because of this change in Instagram, I wonder if that's going to correlate to them paying their influencers more in sponsorship fees. And so it's kind of a win-win for everyone. And so I'm curious to see how it all kind of, rolls out. So I only have 1,300 followers, so I don't think I'm going to be getting any emails anytime soon from the FTC. But
I thought you were up to 2,000. Did a bunch of people leave you for promoting the Brazilian butt cream?
Yeah, pretty much. More people then for that,
Nice.
But yeah, I guess they only rolled it out to 90 celebrities or so far, and they're going to roll it out to more influencers. And I wonder, how many followers you need to have on Instagram for them to reach out and say, "Hey, we're going to make this. We're going to make you required to disclose this information."
Yeah. Oh, hot comment coming in from Summer. Team Intentional Spark.
Oh.
Summer actually says she stopped following several people on Instagram because all they do is post sponsored ads. Yeah, and that's the problem, I think, with I don't think it's less about broadcasting that it's sponsored. It's more about how you do it authentically. So whether it's in the top or the bottom or the hashtag or however you're going to tell people about it.
Butt cream all day.
Butt cream all day, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the 80-20 rule. I mean, 80% of their content should be
right.
Their own personal life and what they actually, want to share with their audience. It's not sponsorship. And then 20%, let's get some butt cream ads in there. I don't know. So.
Wow, this is our first one ever, and we're already going to get a reputation.
Yeah.
How many of you? Oh, how do you spell connoisseur?
I do not know. I always do spell checks.
I'm going to screw that up. But now you have a new title, Brazilian. I don't think you can see it, but it's amazing. Anyway, so let's move on. All right, wrapping up here. Heading to the end. Let's talk about music we're working to this week. For me, Lorde just came out with her new album dropped. I'll be listening to that probably all week. Big fan of Greenlight. Big fan of Lorde. Big fan of pretty much any female pop musical act. But Lorde's new album's out, so that'll be what I'm working to. How about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. The weather is gorgeous this week in Portland, which is a big change from what we've had all winter and spring. So, I don't know. I'm thinking some good patio beats since I'm going to be out here all week.
What are patio beats for you?
I'm not a huge country person, but something about being outside on a hot summer day. I kind of like some good country folk. I don't know. It sounds super lame, but I'm going with it.
All right. Maybe a little afternoon rosé with some country. Is that your afternoon plans?
That's my 9:30 plans this morning. So.
Solid. It's 12:30 on the East Coast.
Yeah.
All right. And then last up, real lightning round. What should be the name of this show? Every Monday, 9 a.m. West Coast, we're going to hop on, cover some topics in the news relevant to digital marketing, maybe avoid butt cream in the future, Meg.
Maybe that could be part of the name.
Maybe This is why I'm head of HR for Intentional Spark. I have to rein you in. So right now it's Intentional Spark Show, .. and tell. It's okay. Could be a good one. This is episode 1. You don't love it. What else? It's Mondays. We talk about the news, talk about what's happening.
Maybe intentional caffeine or don't panic Mondays or
oh man,
guys, we're in marketing and
it's always hardest to market for yourself.
Baby, it's like naming your child. I don't have kids.
I don't think it's quite that hard, Meg. Naming our Facebook Live.
Don't.
I think we don't need to call it that serious. Maybe we think on it. I kind of like the show and tell.
Yeah, because you came up with it. Very selfish.
All right.
Okay.
Lose my voice. So let's wrap it up. Till next Monday.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye, team.
See you guys.